In the distant future, Earth had become a thriving hub of life, surrounded by the cosmos. The year was 2450, and humans had established contact with various alien civilizations. One of these civilizations, the Xanthurians, was known for their advanced technology and incredible intellect. Their home planet, Zinthra, was becoming less hospitable due to the increasing pollution caused by their overdependence on technology. As a result, the Xanthurians decided to seek refuge on Earth, where life was flourishing. Zyra was a young Xanthurian scientist well-respected among her people. She was passionate about finding a new home for her species. Deep inside, she feared that if they did not find refuge soon, they would face extinction, with the Council of Elders unwilling to listen to her ideas. Zyra took it upon herself to make the journey to Earth. She secretly gathered a team of fellow scientists and technicians, each with their unique skills. There was Nax, a brilliant engineer who could build anything with his bare hands, Elda, a biologist who understood the ecosystem of any planet, and Vin, a pilot whose reflexes were unmatched. As they worked on their spacecraft, they faced many challenges. Xanthurians were not accustomed to traveling for long periods. Their bodies struggled against the harsh conditions of space. However, Zyra encouraged her team to push through. With every passing day, they got closer to launching their ship, which they named the Hope. Finally, after months of preparation, the Hope was ready. The team gathered their supplies and set sail across the void, aiming for Earth. The journey was treacherous. They faced meteor showers, cosmic storms, and, at one point, a malfunction in their navigation system. But Zyra and her friends worked together, using their skills to overcome each obstacle. Zyra reminded her team of their goal, to find a safe haven where they could live peacefully. After weeks of traveling, they finally approached Earth. The sight of the blue and green planet filled them with hope. However, they had no idea how the humans would react to their arrival. As they entered the atmosphere, alarms went off in the control room. Vin quickly engaged the thrusters, and they managed to land in a secluded forest area, far from human eyes. When they set foot on Earth, the Xanthurians were amazed by the beauty around them. Vibrant colors filled the trees, and the air smelled fresh. But they had little time to marvel. They needed to find a way to make contact with the humans. As they walked through the woods, they encountered a group of Earthlings hiking nearby. The hikers were startled to see the Xanthurians. One of them, a girl named Lily, stepped forward. She was curious and brave. Instead of running away, she asked, "Who are you?" Zyra was surprised by her courage. She took a step forward and introduced herself and her friends. "We are the Xanthurians. We come in peace, seeking refuge from our dying planet." Lily's eyes widened. She called her friends over, and soon a small group surrounded the Xanthurians. They listened intently to Zyra's story. The more she spoke, the more intrigued they became. "You must meet the leaders," Lily suggested. With a mix of excitement and anxiety, the Xanthurians agreed. The hikers guided them to their town. As they walked, Zyra, Nax, Elda, and Vin marveled at the houses made of wood and stone, the people chatting happily, and the bustling marketplace. It felt alive in a way they hadn't experienced for a long time. When they reached the town hall, they were greeted by the mayor, Mr. Stanton. He was wary at first, but listened to Zyra's plea. "You want to stay here? Our resources are limited," he said, a hint of doubt in his voice. "Yes," Zyra replied earnestly. "We don't require much. We just want a place to call home, a chance to start over." Mr. Stanton took a moment to think. The world was facing its struggles. Climate issues and overpopulation were causing tension among Earth's nations. But here in front of him stood a group seeking help. He decided to give them a chance, but he had to check with the council first. In the following days, the Xanthurians adjusted to life on Earth. They shared their advanced technology and knowledge with the townspeople, helping to solve some of their problems. Their energy-efficient systems reduced waste, and Elda helped restore parts of the local ecosystem. Despite the progress, not everyone was pleased. Some townspeople were afraid of the outsiders. Rumors spread, and fear was a powerful weapon. "What if they take our resources?" asked one resident. "We don't know their true intentions." Zyra knew they had to earn the trust of the people. She organized a community event, hoping to bridge the gap. The Xanthurians cooked traditional dishes from their planet. They demonstrated their technologies and showed how they could work together with humans. On the day of the event, the town hall was filled with laughter and music. The humans mingled with the Xanthurians, breaking down barriers. Slowly, hearts began to change. Mr. Stanton witnessed the change in his town and felt a renewed sense of hope. As days turned into weeks, the relationship between Earth and Xanthar flourished. The Xanthurians were no longer seen as outsiders. They became part of the community. They faced challenges together, learned from each other, and shared not only technology but also culture and friendship. Zyra often reflected on their journey. They had been cast out from their home, but Earth opened its arms to them. In doing so, they found not just refuge, but a new beginning. With every sunrise, they realized that together, they could build a better future for both worlds. And so, the story of the Xanthurians became a tale of hope, resilience, and unity. The legacy of their journey lived on, reminding everyone that compassion could bridge even the widest divides. Here's your story. The crimson sun bled across the alien sky as Kale watched his home crumble. Not physically, not yet, but the cracks were there, deep and spreading to the shimmering towers of Xylos. The High Council, old and rigid, had declared them deviant. Their scientific curiosity a disease threatening the stagnant perfection they craved. Kale, along with his partner, Lyra, and a handful of other scientists, had dared to look beyond the accepted boundaries of Xylosian knowledge. They'd peered into forbidden dimensions, whispered about the possibility of faster-than-light travel, and questioned the very nature of their reality. Now, they were being cast out, exiled to the cold void beyond their known universe. "They're coming," Lyra said, her voice tight with a fear Kale rarely heard. Her silver eyes, usually bright with intelligence, reflected the flickering emergency lights. Kale placed a hand on her arm. "The transport ship is ready. We have to go now." Their transport was a repurposed research vessel, the Stardust, barely capable of interstellar travel, let alone traversing the dimensional rifts they needed to escape Xylosian space. But it was their only hope. They gathered the others. Run, a brilliant engineer with a knack for fixing anything. Zara, a xenolinguist obsessed with deciphering the languages of long-dead civilizations. And Tor, a hulking biologist whose gentle nature belied his formidable strength. Each carried their own burden of forbidden knowledge, their own spark of curiosity that had made them outcasts. The Stardust lurched as it cleared the Xylosian atmosphere, pursued by sleek, black warships. Ren worked frantically at the helm, his fingers flying across the control panel. "Their disruptors are getting closer," he warned. "We need to jump now." Kale nodded, his heart pounding. He initiated the dimensional drive, a risky, untested technology. The ship shuddered violently as it tore through the fabric of space, the pursuing warships vanishing behind them. They emerged into a swirling vortex of colors, a chaotic realm between dimensions. The Stardust groaned under the strain, its systems flickering erratically. "Where are we?" Zara asked, her voice trembling. "Lost," Kale admitted grimly. "Completely and utterly lost." Days turned into weeks as they drifted through the dimensional sea, scavenging for resources, rationing their meager supplies. Hope dwindled with each passing sunrise. Then, one day, Zara detected a faint energy signature, a beacon of light in the overwhelming darkness. "I'm picking up a signal," she announced, her eyes wide with disbelief. It's unlike anything I've ever encountered." They followed the signal, their hearts pounding with a mixture of hope and trepidation. It led them to a solar system, a star bathed in warm, golden light. And orbiting that star, a blue and green planet, teeming with life. "Earth," Zara breathed, reading the alien script she had somehow deciphered. "They call it Earth." They approached cautiously, unsure what to expect. As they entered the Earth's atmosphere, they were met not with hostility, but with a welcoming signal. "This is a United Nations Space Command." A voice crackled over the comms. "We detect an unidentified vessel approaching Earth. Please identify yourselves." Kale hesitated. Could they trust these humans? They were so different, so young. But they had no other choice. He activated the ship's communicator. "We are the crew of the Stardust," he said, his voice echoing in the small vessel. "We are refugees seeking asylum." There was a moment of silence. Then the voice returned, tinged with surprise. "Refugees? From where?" Cale took a deep breath. "From a place you would not believe." They were guided to a secure landing facility in a remote desert region. As they disembarked from the Stardust, they were met by a group of humans, scientists, and diplomats, their faces etched with curiosity and caution. Among them was Dr. Eris Thorne, a leading astrophysicist. He stepped forward, his eyes scanning the newcomers. "Welcome to Earth," he said, extending a hand. "We've been expecting you." The humans were fascinated by the Xylosians, by their advanced technology, and their tales of other dimensions. They were eager to learn, to understand. "Tell us about your home," Dr. Thorne urged. "Tell us why you were cast out." Cale recounted their story, the story of their forbidden knowledge, of the High Council's fear, of their desperate escape. The humans listened intently, their expressions shifting from disbelief to understanding. "They feared what they didn't understand," Dr. Thorne said, his voice filled with empathy. "We understand that fear. We face it ourselves." The Xylosians were given refuge on Earth, a place where their curiosity was celebrated, not condemned. They shared their knowledge, their technology, their dreams. They helped the humans to understand the universe in ways they had never imagined. Lyra worked alongside Dr. Thorne, exploring the mysteries of the dimensional rifts. Ren helped to advance Earth's technology, designing new energy sources and propulsion systems. Zara deciphered ancient languages, uncovering secrets of civilizations long past. And Tor studied Earth's diverse ecosystem, finding new ways to protect and preserve it. Cale, meanwhile, worked with the United Nations, helping to establish protocols for future encounters with extraterrestrial civilizations. He became a bridge between two worlds, a symbol of hope and understanding. But even as they found a new home on Earth, they never forgot their old one. They dreamed of a day when Xylos would be free from the grip of the High Council, when knowledge would be celebrated, not feared. One day, a message arrived, a faint signal from Xylos. It was a plea for help. The High Council had unleashed something they couldn't control, a force from another dimension that threatened to consume their world. Cale knew what he had to do. He looked at Lyra, at Run, at Zara, at Tor. He saw the determination in their eyes, the same spark of curiosity that had led them to Earth. "It's time to go home," he said. They returned to Xylos, not as outcasts, but as saviors. They used their knowledge, their technology, their understanding of the universe to combat the dimensional threat. They fought alongside the Xylosians, those who had once condemned them, now desperate for their help. In the end, they succeeded. They closed the dimensional rift, saving Xylos from destruction. The High Council was overthrown, replaced by a new generation of leaders, those who embraced knowledge and curiosity. Cale, Lyra, Ren, Zara, and Tor were hailed as heroes. They had been cast out, but they had found refuge, and in doing so, they had saved not one world, but two. They had shown that even in the darkest of times, hope could be found, and that curiosity, the very thing that had made them outcasts, was a key to unlocking the universe's greatest secrets. They became a beacon of hope, proving that even those cast out could find a new home and ultimately change the world. In a distant galaxy, far from Earth, there was a thriving planet called Xalan. Xalan was full of vibrant colors, towering trees, and strange creatures. The most remarkable beings on Xalan were the Xylonians, an intelligent species with blue skin and eyes like shimmering stars. They lived in harmony, using their advanced technology to communicate with the universe and explore new worlds. However, one day, their peaceful existence was shattered. The Xylonian Council discovered a grave problem. A neighboring planet, Vera, was in turmoil. The inhabitants of Vera were an aggressive race known as the Virians. A powerful ruler named Zelthar had taken control, spreading fear and destruction across his world. The Xylonians, known for their compassion, decided to help the Virians. They believed that peace could be restored through understanding. A small team of 5 brave Xylonians volunteered for the mission. Their leader was Cora, a wise and strong female who had a deep sense of justice. Alongside her were Jax, a clever inventor, Mira, an expert in languages and communication, Rin, a fierce warrior, and Tilo, a gentle healer. Together, they set off to Vera, hoping to guide the Virians back to peace. Upon arriving on Vera, the team was shocked. The skies were dark and the land was barren. They saw the Virians fighting among themselves, as Zelthar encouraged chaos. Cora and her team approached a group of Virians. Attempting to talk to them, Mira stepped forward, speaking in the Virian language, her voice soft yet firm. "We come in peace. We want to help you." But the Virians, filled with mistrust, saw the Zolonians as threats. They charged forward, weapons raised. Rin prepared to defend their team, but Cora raised her hand. "Wait," she cried. "We are not your enemies." Just as the situation seemed dire, a sudden explosion rocked the ground. A Vera soldier had detonated a bomb intended for their own kind, destroying part of a village. Chaos erupted as the Zolonians rushed to help. Tilo used his healing powers to treat the injured. Jax quickly began to repair the damaged houses with his innovative gadgets, while Rin stood guard against any incoming attacks. In the midst of the chaos, Zelthar appeared, tall and menacing. He glared at Cora and her team. "You believe you can save them? You are weak, just like the ones you try to protect," he bellowed. Cora looked up at him, her heart racing. "We are not weak. We seek peace. We are here to help you all." Zelthar laughed, a cold, cruel sound. "You are not welcome here. Leave or face my wrath." The fear around them grew, but Cora stood firm. "We will not leave. We will fight for peace until the end." With that, the battle began. The Zolonians fought bravely, using their advanced skills against the Virians. Together, they protected the innocent while trying to reach Zelthar. Jax created barriers to shield the weak. Mira persuaded some Virians to join them, showing them the value of unity. Tilo healed wounds, bringing hope to the discouraged. Days passed, and what started as a battle turned into a desperate struggle for survival. Many Virians began to see that the Zolonians had no intentions of harming them. Instead of fighting, they started to cooperate. Slowly, the tide turned. The combined forces of Zolonians and the Virians began to push back against Zelthar's army. However, Zelthar was not easily defeated. He unleashed his most powerful weapon, a monstrous beast known as the Dark Titan. The creature was a terrifying sight, covered in scales and with eyes that glowed with menace. It roared and charged toward Cora and her team. In an act of bravery, Rin faced the Dark Titan alone. "I will stop it," he shouted. The others watched in fear as Rin battled the enormous creature. He fought fiercely, using his skills and bravery to distract it while Cora and the rest of the team devised a plan. Cora gathered all her strength. "We need to work together," she shouted to the Virians nearby. Together, they crafted a strategy. Jax provided gadgets to trap the Dark Titan, while Tilo and Mira worked on a way to calm it with their healing powers. They aimed to make the beast as friendly as possible. As Rin continued to engage the creature, the Zolonians and Virians launched their plan. Jax created a barrier that connected the ground, while Mira used her soothing voice to reach the beast's mind. Gradually, they broke through the rage inside it. The Dark Titan paused, confused and hesitant. It slowly turned its gaze towards Jax and Myra's calming presence. They chanted softly, and Tilo used his powers to heal the wounds inflicted by the battle, demonstrating kindness even to their enemy. The creature's eyes began to change, softening into a tranquil glow. As Cora saw this, she brought everyone together. In a moment of unity, they stood side by side, Virians and Zolonians alike, facing the Dark Titan. "We are not your enemies. Peace will bring happiness," she shouted, her voice echoing through the battlefield. Finally, the Dark Titan lowered its head, accepting their kindness. Zelthar, seeing the tide had turned, lost his power. With his defeat, the fear over Vera began to fade. The people of Vera now saw the truth. The Zolonians were not there to conquer, but to help. Gradually, a new alliance formed. The Virians thanked the Zolonians for their bravery and offered them a place among their rebuilt society. Cora and her team were welcomed as heroes. Together, they worked to heal their worlds and ensure that conflict would not arise again. Back on Zalin, Cora and her team shared their story of bravery and hope. They had learned that even in the darkest times, kindness could light the way. The Zalonians and Virians stood strong together, united by their experiences, and for the first time, they truly felt a sense of refuge. In the end, Earth 2 offered them refuge, as both teams began to explore the stars, forging connections across the universe. They became ambassadors of peace, spreading their message of unity, proving that together they could overcome anything. Here's a story for you. The council chambers of Xylos were vast, echoing with the weight of centuries of tradition. Illyra, her violet eyes shimmering with unshed tears, stood before the assembled elders. Her crime? Discovering a star chart that hinted at life beyond their dying galaxy. In their fear, they called it heresy. Illyra, you are accused of propagating dangerous falsehoods, the lead elder boomed, his voice amplified by ancient resonators. You claim there are other galaxies, other civilizations. This is a threat to our very way of life, our understanding of the cosmos. Illyra swallowed, her voice trembling slightly. But elders, the charts, they are real. I verified them using the ancient observatories. We are not alone. And more importantly, we may not survive if we remain here, clinging to a dying star. Her words were met with silence. Then a murmur of discontent rippled through the chamber. The elders, their faces etched with worry, conferred amongst themselves. Finally, the lead elder spoke. The council has reached a decision. For your heresy and for spreading fear amongst our people, you are hereby banished from Xylos. You will be stripped of your title, your home, and all rights as a Xylosian citizen. You will be cast out into the void, and your name will be stricken from our records. A gasp escaped Illyra's lips. Banishment was a death sentence. Without a ship, without resources, she would perish in the cold emptiness of space. Please, she begged, at least give me a ship. Let me prove what I found. Her pleas fell on deaf ears. 2 guards, their faces impassive, seized her arms and dragged her toward the docking bay. There, a small, dilapidated transport ship awaited, its hull scarred and its engine sputtering. This is all we can spare, one of the guards said, his voice devoid of emotion. May the void have mercy on your soul. Illyra was shoved onto the ship. The hatch slammed shut behind her. With a lurch, the transport detached from the station, drifting aimlessly into the inky blackness. Alone and heartbroken, Illyra collapsed into the pilot's seat. She had no navigational data, no destination, only the faint hope that the star charts were accurate. She fired up the ancient engines, and with a groan, the ship lurched forward, leaving Xylos behind. Days turned into weeks as Illyra drifted through the void, rationing her meager supplies and desperately trying to decipher the star charts. Just as her hope began to dwindle, a blip appeared on her radar. A small, insignificant blip, but a blip nonetheless. With renewed determination, Illyra adjusted her course, guiding the transport towards the signal. As she drew closer, the blip resolved into a planet, a vibrant blue and green sphere unlike anything she had ever seen. Could it be? She whispered, her heart pounding with excitement. Could this be the world the chart spoke of? As she entered the planet's atmosphere, Illyra was greeted by a breathtaking sight. Lush forests, towering mountains, and vast oceans teeming with life. This was a world teeming with life, a stark contrast to the dying world she had left behind. She set the transport down in a deserted clearing, her hands shaking as she opened the hatch. Stepping onto the soft earth, she felt a sense of wonder and disbelief. This was it. She had found a new home, but her relief was short-lived. As she explored the clearing, she noticed strange markings on the trees, symbols that were both alien and familiar. Then she heard a rustling in the bushes, and a figure emerged, its silhouette outlined against the setting sun. It was a human, tall and muscular, with piercing blue eyes and a wary expression. He held a strange weapon in his hand, pointed directly at Illyra. "Who are you?" he demanded, his voice rough and commanding. "And what are you doing on our planet?" Illyra, terrified but determined, raised her hands in a gesture of peace. "I am Illyra," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "I come from a distant galaxy. My people, they cast me out. I was searching for a new home, and my charts led me here. The human lowered his weapon slightly. His eyes narrowed with suspicion. A galaxy? Charts? What are you talking about? Ilara hesitated, unsure how to explain her story to this alien being, but she knew she had no choice. She had to trust him, to hope that he would understand. My world is dying, she said, her voice filled with sorrow. Our sun is fading, and our resources are depleted. I discovered evidence of other galaxies, other worlds, but the Council refused to believe me. They banished me, hoping I would die. But I found this place, this beautiful planet. Please, I beg you, let me stay. I mean no harm. The human stared at her for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Finally, he lowered his weapon completely and extended his hand. My name is Captain John Reynolds, he said. Welcome to Earth. Ilara's heart soared with hope. She had found a refuge, a place where she could start anew. But she knew that her journey was far from over. She had to convince the humans that she was not a threat, that she could be an asset to their society. Over the next few months, Ilara worked tirelessly to learn the human language and customs. She shared her knowledge of the cosmos, her understanding of advanced technology, and her vision for a future where humans and Xylosians could coexist peacefully. Not everyone welcomed her with open arms. Many humans were wary of her alien appearance and her strange abilities. But Captain Reynolds, along with a small group of scientists and engineers, saw the potential in her knowledge. They helped her adapt to her new life, teaching her about Earth's history, its culture, and its people. As Ilara learned more about Earth, she realized that humans were not so different from Xylosians. They were flawed, yes, but they were also resilient, compassionate, and capable of great kindness. She began to feel a sense of belonging, a sense of home, that she had not felt since she was banished from Xylos. But her past was not so easily forgotten. One day, a fleet of Xylosian warships appeared in Earth's orbit. The Council, having finally realized the truth of Ilara's discoveries, had come to claim Earth for themselves. The humans, caught off guard, were unprepared for the Xylosian invasion. Their weapons were no match for the advanced technology of the Xylosian fleet. It seemed as though Earth was doomed, but Ilara refused to give up. She knew that she had to protect her new home, even if it meant facing her own people in battle. Using her knowledge of Xylosian technology, she devised a plan to disable the Xylosian warships. With the help of Captain Reynolds and a team of human engineers, Ilara modified Earth's defense systems to disrupt the Xylosian energy shields. In a daring raid, they managed to disable the lead warship, sending a message to the rest of the fleet. Faced with the unexpected resistance, the Xylosian Council hesitated. They had expected an easy victory, but they had underestimated the humans' determination and Ilara's ingenuity. After a tense standoff, the Council decided to withdraw their fleet, leaving Earth to its own devices. Ilara had saved her from invasion, proving her loyalty to her new home. She had become a symbol of hope, a bridge between two worlds. And as she looked out at the vast expanse of the cosmos, she knew that her journey had just begun. She would dedicate her life to building a future where humans and Xylosians could live together in peace, exploring the wonders of the universe side by side.